Hi everyone, and welcome to National Careers Week 2022. This is probably one of the most exciting podcasts that I've done. I've never interviewed somebody that is currently on a ship, so this is really exciting. So I am joined today by Captain Aseem. He is actually a member of our alumni for South Shields Marine School, and he's here today to talk to us about his career, how he got into it, and that sort of thing, and hopefully some of the exciting things that he's done along the way. So is it okay if we just start with the basics? So what your current job title is and what that job involves?
Yeah. Hello, Jess. Hi, everyone. So my name is Captain Aseem Hashmi. I'm the captain, or master, as they say, of a large liner with over 4,000 people on board, and currently in the Caribbean. So a little bit different from the UK right now.
Yes, absolutely. So as captain then, obviously I know actually I was having a look, obviously doing a little bit of digging into you before we start this podcast, and is it right that you were the youngest captain of the particular ship that you're working on now?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. Things have changed a lot. In the old days, you had to wait many years before you ever got command. But because there is a shortage of marine officers at sea, progression is much faster. So I was very fortunate to be given my first command, not of this ship, of my sister ship, Queen Elizabeth, very earlier.
Oh, amazing. So as captain then, or command, what does a typical day look like for you? What sorts of things do you do from kind of when you wake up to when you go to sleep?
I think the best thing about the job for me is that every day, honestly, is very different. Not only from the view from the window out of the bridge, but what's happening around. So today we're in the port of in Dominica, in the Caribbean, of course. Tomorrow, Barbados, and then day after that we'll be at sea. But to get to the Caribbean, we had 6 days crossing the Atlantic, which is very different as well. Typical day. So this morning, a wake-up call. It was early wake-up call at 4:30 in the morning, and then on the bridge for 5:15. And the approach into the port was 6 o'clock in the morning, and tied up by 7 o'clock. So that was an early start. And then after breakfast, to catch up with a lot of administration work. It's not only driving the ship. There is a lot of administration. And the administration of your office work is things looking at future itineraries, issues on board, commercial issues on board, technical issues. And also this morning, just now, 3 or 4 letters from passengers were delivered to me, nice letters. So you respond to them. And after lunch break, if you want to go ashore, you can go ashore. I'm not going ashore today, but yesterday, I must confess, without making you folks too jealous, that I was on the beach for a couple of hours in St. Martin. Only 2 hours. And then today I'm working. But, I've been to many of these places before, but it's always nice to stretch your legs and go out and see the world, see different places. And then this afternoon, we're getting ready for departure brief, and also arrival tomorrow. So we're talking to the ship's agent, to the ports, for arrival tomorrow. For example, there's about 5 cruise ships in Barbados tomorrow. So we've all got to make sure we don't all arrive at the same time. So we negotiate with the ship's traffic control, basically. And we agree on a plan tomorrow. And then after departure tonight, I go around the passenger areas as well to see how our passengers are doing. It's nice to talk to them and for them to talk to me. And this evening we have at 10 o'clock a crew barbecue out on deck to also treat the crew as we're island hopping in the Caribbean, just to give a crew a little break and something. And
I feel like I'm in the wrong job.
And then myself and the officers will be serving the crew. So we'll be doing a barbecue for the crew. And then tomorrow morning again, it will be another 5 o'clock wake-up call. So there are early wake-up calls. We're back in tomorrow morning.
I feel like that's amazing. You've just said it there, but obviously a huge benefit of working in marine is the opportunity to go and explore the world. And we really try and say that to students who are considering that career path, because like you've just said there, island hopping and going around the Caribbean, and there are those opportunities, and it's important that students know that as well. A huge benefit of a career at sea. Where is your favourite place that you've ever been as part of your job?
I mean, there's so many. I've asked this question so many times, so many favorite places. And I've been very fortunate that I visited places I could not have ever imagined in my life. And they're not on your normal travel agent's bucket list when you go on
Yeah.
the high street. Been to the Amazon, to the Arctic, to Antarctica. Wonderful places. One of the most iconic places for me on this ship, the Queen Mary 2, for example, our main route is transatlantic, is going into New York. I've done it almost 100 times, I guess. But coming into New York in dawn, under the Verrazzano's Bridge, we just squeeze under the suspension bridge by a couple of meters, and then seeing the Statue of Liberty, the famous statue, iconic Liberty on the port side, and Manhattan. What you see on the TV shows, on the films in Hollywood, is what it's like in real life.
What it's like.
It really is. And we docked very close to Manhattan. And so New York, after all these years, still is very special coming back.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so gutted. I had a holiday to New York booked right at the beginning of the pandemic, which has obviously now just not happened. I'm desperate to get it kind of rebooked in because I would love to go. That's fantastic. So if we kind of take it back a few steps then, so we've had a look at where you are now and the exciting places that you've been and what a typical day looks like. At what point did you decide that you wanted a career at sea? I think for a lot of year 11s, maybe they don't know kind of much about it, how to get into it. So what was your route into the role and how did you decide?
I mean, that's a very important question. And when you're 10, 11 years old, you probably have many ideas what you want to do. And I was quite sure what I wanted to do. I wanted to fly planes and become an airline pilot.
Okay.
And I knew I needed A levels, maths and physics after school, and go from there. And I was very fortunate. It was all going well, and got into an airline company. But as soon as I joined, well, very shortly after I joined, the airline company and the airline industry were having economic issues, and recession came in, and all the new trainees were laid off.
Right.
So we lost our cadetship and training program, and I was struggling, thinking what to do next. And to be honest, I'd never even heard of the Merchant Navy or careers at sea, because I live in landlocked Coventry, far away from the sea as you possibly get.
Yeah.
But I did go to a careers fair. We didn't have online careers fair like we do now, but a careers fair at the NEC in Birmingham. And I walked past the Merchant Navy careers fair, and to be honest, I did not even know what the Merchant Navy was. I knew what the Royal Navy is and was, but not what the Merchant Navy was. So I picked up a few leaflets, and it really did attract my attention. We've never even heard of it, didn't know what it was. And it's surprising because for many of us, 95% of our goods in our shops or what we do in the country comes by sea. We rely on the sea trade so much. And here's me not even knowing what the sea career was all about. And to go to sea, you have to be sponsored by a shipping company. And this is a good thing nowadays, because if you go to university, which is fine, you have to pay for your own university fees, etc. But because there's a shortage of officers at sea, the shipping companies at least pay for your training now. So you can get your degree at the other end, or paid for. But that's just one part of it. So I was sponsored by the company I'm presently with 2.5 years, and very proud to say that I studied up in South Shields and picked up a slight Geordie accent. I still have it now and again when I return, and I love returning to South Shields almost every year now, just to see friends and ex-colleagues and teachers as well. And 2.5 years, so it was roughly 3 months at college, 3 months at sea, 3 months at college, 6 months at sea, back and forth, for 2.5 years, and I got my first Officer of the Watch license, and progressed from there. And I returned 2 more times to South Tyneside College, South Shields, to finish my next licenses off. And one thing about the career, I would say, you never stop learning. It's not like you've done your exams and that's it for life. You are assessed continuously, and that's a good thing. I think you're up to date with the latest technology, innovations, and it keeps you up to date and skilled as well.
Amazing. That's so interesting that you say you're from Coventry and then you've actually ended up studying in South Shields. Was that because of a careers fair? Did you say that you went to a careers fair and saw it there, or?
Yes, I went to a careers fair, and there's so many different careers I did not even know about, but the Merchant Navy was the one that stuck with me, and I would always advise everyone, whatever you want to do, or even if you don't know what you want to do, go to a careers fair, the National Careers Week, of course,
Yeah,
soon, online or in person later, hopefully. Explore your opportunities. Whether you come to see or not is, neither here nor there, but at least you know what's out there and what you need to get there is most
definitely.
important.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something we want to make sure, and that's kind of the purpose of these interviews as well, really, is want to make sure that everyone's got access to all of the information. And I think that can happen a lot when you're at school, and you almost get a little bit bombarded with all of this information about all of these different career paths. But I think making sure that students who may otherwise not have heard of marine or careers at sea are having access to that information. We speak with some of our pre-cadets now who joined us in September, and it's so interesting to see and hear their experiences as well, and they're having such a great time, and we're just really trying to kind of promote that and promote careers at sea to year 11 students who otherwise, like I said, might not have heard about it. So if we think about your kind of role now, what would you say, or just career at sea really in general, what would you say has surprised you most about that career? Is there anything that you didn't expect, anything that was kind of a complete surprise when you'd finished your training and started at sea?
I think the thing that struck me first was, even as a cadet, first trip cadet, the level of responsibility that was given to you straight away from very early on. You were treated as an adult, even though you were training. The level of responsibility that I know, talking to my peers who went to other routes on land, never had initially, like that. And that's gives you a very big confidence boost when you get the level of responsibility you are given as soon as you're a cadet, and that's throughout the career. And what was nice about studying at South Shields or any nautical college, but South Shields more, is that the work or the subjects that you were studying, you knew that you will be using that precisely in the career you're doing. So, for example, navigation, we did a lot of trigonometry, and that's what all your navigation is based on, and that's where you enjoyed it more probably, because you knew you would use it day in, day out. But one thing that did strike me when I came to sea, so I thought, as a navigator or eventually captain, my job would be like an airline pilot, just drive the ship from A to B, and that's it.
And that's it.
What makes the career more interesting is, driving, yes, is still my favorite part, and the parking. But there's so many other things to do. For example, there's administration, you have oversight on the rest of the ship, commercial aspects, make sure the ship makes money, whether you're a passenger ship or a cargo ship. Oversight of the engineering, make sure that's all working correctly, because when you embark on that ocean passage, you don't want to break down halfway across the Atlantic.
Definitely not.
and there's lots of other things, statutory requirements, international regulations. It is one of the most regulated professions by so many different organizations you are responsible for. So you're involved in lots of things and legal issues. But one of the best parts of the job, I think, whether you work on a cruise liner like I do or on a cargo ship, is the camaraderie you build with your colleagues and shipmates on board. On my ship, we have 1,300 crew on board, and we've got the crew barbecue tonight, for example. And it's amazing, crew from over 50 nationalities, and we really do get on together, and it's really good fun. And that's the best part of the job, I will say, is the friends. I've got more friends at sea than I have on land, and it's strange, but that's the nicest part of the job, the camaraderie you build as shipmates, because it is teamwork, and it's all about teamwork at sea.
That's absolutely amazing. And I imagine, obviously, spending such long periods of time away from home, it's important that you're going to build those friendships, because I imagine you keep each other sane when you're out, maybe haven't seen family and friends kind of on land, as you said. You might not have seen them for a while, so I imagine that's a really important part of the job, and like you said, such a nice part of the job too. So the ship that you are working on, so I saw that is one of them kind of docked in Dubai. Is that like a hotel? Is that the other ship that you work with, or?
The one in Dubai is the QE2 or Queen Elizabeth II. That's the first ship that I was on, but our company sold that. Because they were almost 40 years old. So that's now a hotel, or flotel as they call it, in Dubai. So the ship that I'm on now is a successor to that, Queen Mary 2, double the size, with all the mod comms, and things are much easier on board now. When I started to see, I still write letters home or phone home, but now you've got internet in your cabin on your phone. Things are much easier to communicate at home, and everyone works slightly different patterns, but I work 3 months on, 3 months off.
Right.
And
okay.
So that's 6 months work a year, generally speaking, not, and so you do spend a lot of time at home as well to make up for the time you're away, which makes it much easier.
I think that's really important to hear. I know that lots of students, that's one of their kind of big concerns, I think, is that time away from home, and are they going to get homesick? Is it going to be kind of almost unbearable? But it's interesting that you've said that, because a lot of the students that we speak to as well, those pre-cadets in that kind of initial training stage, all kind of agree. I think they're in agreement that actually it is bearable, and because the work is almost so full on and exciting, they were saying that there's not loads of opportunity to feel massively homesick, because they're always kind of on the go and seeing and doing new things, which is great. Because obviously that is, I think, one of the concerns. But obviously you moved up from Coventry, and we've got students who live in our halls of residence currently as well, and I think that's almost a nice stepping stone too. Did you stay in the halls of residence when you came to us?
Yes, I did. I stayed in the Dr. Winterbottom Hall,
and
even for my master's license, I stayed there, and it was good. It was because being at sea is a disciplined lifestyle. And as you quite correctly said, Jess, even the hall of residence is a disciplined lifestyle. Just having your meals at a punctual time, minding your neighbours, your social behaviour, all this comes together and puts you in good stead for being at sea. Because you are in the tin box. You could be in a large liner like I'm on, or a small cargo ship. You're still in a confined environment, reasonably speaking. And I think people at sea are generally much more accommodating to each other, understanding of each other, and just your social interaction with everyone is a big part of it, and discipline comes into it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you can see that even just at the college. I think you can see, and obviously the Marine students stand out immediately because they've got their uniforms on. But in all of my experience with our Marine students, they're all kind of very polite. I would always say very mature as well, is how I would always kind of describe them. And I do think it comes from that kind of more disciplined approach to study and work. Which is great, and it's great that you're learning that from kind of from the beginning. As soon as you start the training, you're kind of, that's instilled in you then, which is fantastic. So just a question that we're asking everybody who has joined us for an interview this week. If you could give any piece of advice to a young person who's considering a career at sea, what would that piece of advice be?
I think for sea and for any career, I found out when I left aviation, is that it's sometimes normal to have second thoughts about anything you've embarked on. That's normal, and don't always give up. Half the battle is persevering. You have up days, down days, like in any career and any aspect of life, but persevere, and see the light at the end of the tunnel and the bigger picture. Things are improving, and we're fortunate being an island nation that we depend on the sea, and it's a career at your doorstep, at your fingertips, waiting for you. It may not be for everyone, I'll be totally honest, which is fine. But if it is for you, do explore it, and don't give up. Like in anything in life, persevere, and then you make your wise choices at the end.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining me. We will have some information about careers at sea, which will be in the description of this video, so you can find out a little bit more about it there. And if you have any questions, then you can get in touch with us as well. But thank you so much for joining me. That was fantastic.
Thank you.